One of the things that I haven't showed you before is the triangle that you guys used to see in. We'll have about 3 or 4 more in. We'll give it just a few minutes to get here. How's the farm going?
It's good. It's a sunny day, so everybody's out having fun.
It's a sunny day and everybody's having fun. Now, Randy, are you and Jackie on the same team?
No.
No, you just know Jackie. Okay. Are y'all with the same company?
No.
No.
Potentially down the road. That's
Potentially, though.
yeah, potentially.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
from our previous discussions.
Yes.
Okay. All right. That sounds great. All right, we got a couple more people. Tim, there's old Cigar Jack Scott coming in. Cigar Scott. He's always got his iPhone.
Yeah.
See there, man, Scott. I'm telling you, man, that's your brand. That's your brand.
I'm
Melissa's
telling you.
here. Melissa's in the house.
You don't think it looks like I'm an old car salesman or something, do you?
That's a great point. Now, you're in your garage. I would assume that's your office. And
I do a lot of work out here.
All right, guys, let's go ahead and get started and get things going so that we can, if anybody else comes in. First thing I want to show you is what you learned before. One of the things that I haven't showed you before is the triangle that you guys used to see in the AB class. Okay, Brandy, I'm going to mute you right now because there's a lot of stuff behind you. There we go. There we go. All right. Here we go. Here we go. You guys remember this, don't you? This is the triangle that we taught you, that we learned. And if you want to write it down, if you're writing anything down, this is to be a good thing. Whenever you're learning new skills, whenever you're learning something new, and we're going to be talking about, we talked about social media last week. By the way, if you did not catch it, if you were not here or you want to hear about it again, I'm going to be on live Facebook. Write this down tomorrow at 11:30. So if you're not a friend of mine, send a friendship in and I'll put you on. But I'm going to be live on Facebook talking about social media, talking about a lot of things about at 11:30 Eastern. So Brandy, that's early in the morning, 8:30 your time. Okay. So if you guys are up. Okay. So if you take the triangle right here, and this is what we're going to be learning. Some of you maybe have door knocked before. Some of you haven't went out and door knocked. We're going to be talking about that a little bit today. And I'm going to tell you why we're talking about it. Because 2 reasons. In my organization here at EX, there's so much traction with my frontline people in door knocking. It's unbelievable. They are selling houses and listing houses by door knocking. And they're even videoing themselves going out and door knocking. Now, they go by 2s a lot of times, okay? Oh, sorry about that. I thought I'd give you some balloons. They go by 2s, and it's an amazing thing. I'll tell you another thing, the reason I'm doing this. We just brought a person on, that a lady down in Florida that I have in my organization named Barbara. She brought on a lady named Tracy today. And their whole thing is they're going out door knocking together. And she's already capped. She's at 100%. And she's about to get her cap back in stock options. So I just think she's done about 20 transactions in door knocking. Are you kidding me? And we gotta think about that as saying, okay, maybe we should give that a shot. The whole point about the triangle down here I wanted to show you is whenever you start learning new skills, you got the foundation. You got to start down at the bottom. You got to start, okay, I got to get some knowledge about this. Okay, where am I going to go door knocking? How am I going to go door knocking? I got to get the skills to be able to do that. I used to door knock just to give out free market analysis. Whenever I was having a slow month or a slow week, and I can remember my script. And this is the skill part. Hi, how you doing? My name is Rob Daniel with EXP. I was just stopping by today to see if you know anybody thinking about moving in or out of your neighborhood. Do you know anyone? No? I'm going to be over in your neighborhood next week giving out what we call free market analysis. All that is just tell you what your house is worth. Won't take but about 10, 15 minutes. And the nice part about it, it's free. So is Monday good or is Wednesday better for me to stop by and give you this free market analysis? When you can learn your script like that, then you're able to develop it and you're able to get a lot of business. So knowledge, where are you going to go door knocking? How are you going to go door knocking? What time are you going to go? Skills. And then it's just strictly the mindset, right? Would you agree with that? What kind of mindset have I got going out and knocking on doors? And it's hot. It's freaking hot now. And I'm going to go out and knock on doors in this hot weather? Yes. So again, I think you've got to take a look at that. And then it's all about getting into the habits. Once you have the mindset, and how long does it take? 66 days to make a habit. So it's not go door knocking for just a few days. And then you say, oh my gosh, it's not working for me. It's too hot. It's this and that. And I was talking to one of the people in my organization today. I was coaching her. And her problem was mindset, I think. She was out door knocking. She goes door knocking every day, but she's not getting anything. And I told her, I said, I really believe that you think when you go, you're not getting anything. I believe you've been doing it for so long and not getting anything. And don't you agree with that? Don't you agree that we could do something for so long and not get anything that our mindset is, I'm still going to do it, and I'm probably not going to get anything? Isn't that kind of, what does Einstein say? That's the definition of insanity, right? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results.
Yep.
But in this case, though, she was expecting the same results. I'm not going to get anything. So I think that you got to really get the foundation, and you got to get and you got to get that understanding: knowledge, skills, mindset, and habits. Knowledge, skills, mindset, and habits. And then you got to start taking a look and saying, okay, what does my pipeline look like? And by the way, I don't know if you have a neighborhood that you go door knock. I don't know if that's your pipeline for door knocking. I don't know if you have ever taken on a geographic area. Have we had that mastermind yet about geographic areas? No. I got to tell you something. I took on a geographic area when I sold real estate, and I had 50 to 60% of all the listings and sales that came in and out of that geographic area. And it was 1,000 homes. It was 1,000 homes. So I had 50% of everything that came in and out of there. And again, it's all about, and maybe I'll tell you a little bit about it here, but it's all about door knocking and building the relationship, right? And let me tell you one of the mindsets that you have to do whenever you door knock like a geographic area. I'm gonna say something that's gonna shock you. Your mindset and your thinking has to be, I do not want a listing from them, and I do not want them to buy a house from me. That's got to be your mindset and your thinking when you go on and take on a geographic area, because they can sniff you out. They know you're there to get their listing. You're not there to get their listing. You're there to get referrals. And if you can make them feel comfortable that you're not there trying to get them to sell their house or buy a home, they'll give you referrals. And if you do a good job with the referrals, they'll give you their listings and their sales. They'll give it to you. I never had to ask for them to give me a listing or a sale, yet I had 50% of all the listings and all the buyers that came in and out of there. But I never asked for the business. I took care of those people, and I built relationships, and I took care of their referrals. And I took care of the pipeline, build that pipeline. And then you got to get the momentum, right? And then you got to get a momentum. Once you have the momentum, ladies and gentlemen, you put the accelerator down so fast, so quick, so hard that you just don't stop. And then it's a matter of, once you get all the momentum going, right, then it's what we talked about, who, not how. Now, who can help me with some of these things? Who can help me? Who can help do some things? Who can help set up a website for my neighborhood? Who can monitor the website? Who can do some of the drawings and some of the games that I play? who can wrap up the gifts that I might take to some people, who can go buy the 6 turkeys that I gave away at Thanksgiving as I was door knocking and gave away 6 butterball turkeys, who can buy my turkeys for me, who could dress up like Santa Claus and be there on the 13th of December and give out candy canes to all the kids and all that kind of stuff. And then that's whenever when you start getting 25, 30, 40, 50, 60% of all the listings and all the sales, then you can say that you have started mastering something, right? Then you can say you have started doing that. So let me come back to you now. I wanted to start with that pyramid, because I think that is the essence of most everything and everything that we do. If we're going to start something new or fill something new, and again, maybe you've already started door knocking. Maybe you're a door knocking maniac. We're going to find out today. Maybe you'd like to start doing some door knocking. Okay. Maybe that is a deal. Maybe that's a thing. And so I'm going to ask you, I'm going to stop talking for just a moment and then I'll come back in. What kind of door knocking have you done? And what kind of results have you gotten? Okay, now that's the mastermind time. Your turn to talk a little bit. I don't all talk at one time. However,
I'll
right.
start if you want. That's fine.
Ladies first, Scott.
All right.
Sit back and smoke
Is that
a
okay,
cigar.
Scott?
She'll kick my butt. I gotta kick back.
Sit back and smoke that cigar.
No, I door knocked around my listing and I took the lender that shows up and sits my open house with me, and we invited the neighborhood on Friday evening to the open house that we had just for the neighborhood, and then let them know that also Saturday and Sunday we were having an open house there. It's interesting, even though people are home, they don't really like to answer their doors, and we had a postcard to give them. I would do a door hanger versus a postcard the next time. That's one thing I would do differently. But I did end up with a gentleman that answered his door. He said that they were interested in selling their home in August. They came down and visited the open house on Friday. Then after the open house on Sunday, went to their home and made the suggestions. They wanted to do a little bit of remodeling, and they'll be listing their home in August with me. So I did get a listing out of it.
Wow.
But it's interesting because kids answer the doors, right? Because I think the parents maybe are working from home or whatever. But I had one probably high school age young man answer the door, and his mother can see this going on the ring, and all of a sudden the ring is talking. She's, "We don't want any, get off the porch." It's just, you got to get ready for whatever comes your way. But so I don't do a lot of door knocking. I have to say I was really pleased with that, because we just did a couple of blocks. We didn't even go real far with it, but I did secure a listing.
Who is we?
The lender, I bring a
Okay,
lender.
you and the lender. That's right.
Mhm.
Is the lender a she or he?
He. Mhm.
Okay.
And so I always, whenever I do open houses, I always have, and sometimes it's a woman, sometimes it's a man, it doesn't matter to me, but I tell them it gives them an opportunity to talk to buyers coming through that may not be approved yet. I've had people get approvals at the open house from the lender by talking to them. So it's worth their while. It's easy to do. And yeah, but then I did ask that he walk the neighborhood with me earlier that week as well, to invite the neighbors, and he was willing to do that.
Okay, so if you had success in it, and Scott, I'm gonna come to you in just a moment. If you had success in it, why would you not make it part of your plan? Is it for what reason would you not make it part of your plan?
I think it's good. I think it's just getting out there and doing it. I'm in the Chicago area. Now it's coming into May. It'll be easier to do when you're out there and it's freezing and
Yeah, and the wind's blowing. They don't call it the Windy
Yep.
City for nothing.
yes, and it's cold. It's really hard to be excited.
That's you're right. You are in a place where, yes, you probably do it seasonally.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll come back to you in just a moment. Scott,
Sure.
what is your thinking on door knocking and have you done some and what do you do?
There's steps to doing door knocking, and in my neighborhood, people don't like to answer the door. There's opportunity there, even when like I forgot your name. Sorry. She said that she would have left a door hanger instead of a postcard. But I've learned over the years of doing different stuff, door knocking, that you knock on the door and you take 2 steps back. Make sure you back away from
That's
the door
right.
so that they don't feel threatened. There's a mindset. And everything you do, no matter what, whether it be door knocking or just face to face, you have to be consistent with everything that you say. I know all this, and implementing it on a daily basis is really difficult. Just, you get sidetracked so fast. You know that as well. But absolutely, you have to be consistent and persistent. And you're not there to sell them anything or help them buy anything. You're right. You're there for a referral. If they could show you, if they could trust you. I read a book, How to Earn Trust Within 5 Seconds. And that book probably helped me more in everyday conversations than anything else. How to build trust.
Oh, wow.
And if you can find a common thing, if you get to say 5 words to them, if you can find a common thing with them, everybody's different. So you have to be a chameleon, is what I call it, right? And hey, pardon me, I'm not trying to get pushy or anything like that. What do you do for a living? And they love to tell you about what they do. I work from home. I'm an IT guy. Oh, wow. Software is something that we use all the time. Just go into that and just talk to them. It's not about, hey, can you give me a referral? No, I don't know anybody that wants to buy or sell a house. That's the first thing. And I said, look, you don't have to know today. You don't
Okay.
have to know today. I'm here to offer my services to anybody that at any time. I don't care if it's next year.
No,
I
like it.
care. I put it to them like this. I care about helping you solve your problems.
Okay.
And
All right. Melissa, how about you? Do you do any door knocking? Can you talk and drive? Oh, you're muted, Melissa. You're muted. You may not be able to. Okay. I got you. Brandy, do you and Jackie do any door knocking? I think you said no before.
No, we do door knocking, which for my listing agents houses
Right.
only, not for self-promotion or being able to drum up our own business. It's for his.
I believe you guys would be great together, by the way. I think you guys would do great. Okay, so let me talk to you a minute about kind of door knocking, because again, I did do a lot of door knocking and I believe in door knocking. And again, I believe in a lot of things. One of the biggest things of door knocking is open houses. Whatever you should always do door knocking around your open houses. Okay, that's just so necessary. Now, the question is, and I'm going to give you a little bit of a system, okay, because if I don't know if I've ever done open houses with you either. I average 75 people in my open houses every 2 weeks. Okay. And I would get anywhere from 20 to 25 for sale neighborhood people, 20 to 25 every single time that I did an open house, anywhere from 20 to 25, sometime as high as 30, 40, 50 would come from the neighborhood. But you have to be really intentional, okay? You have to have a system and be intentional. And let me tell you what I did to be able to get that many people to come to my open house. Because just remember, it's all about building the relationship. It's all about building the relationship. And if you got 30, 40, 50 people from your neighborhood to an open house, you ought to go back out and door knock that open house some more, that neighborhood some more. So anyway, I would, if I had an open house, for example, on Sunday from 1 to 4, I would go door knock the 200 people in the neighborhood on Thursday. 200 doors, I'm going to door knock. Hi, how you doing? My name is Rob Daniel. I got an open house. I'm with EXP. I got an open house event right down the street. And I got to tell you something, man, it is going to be great. I would love to invite you. You might be at church. I don't know. But if you're at church on Sunday morning, come on over Sunday afternoon, invite your church. Invite your family, invite your cousin, invite your brother, invite your sister, invite your mama, daddy, everybody. Come over to my open house. I'm going to have some desserts. I'm going to have a couple of things. In fact, I'm going to have some coupons for some like the pizzas or stuff that are around town here. I'm going to have some discounts in my open house just for you. So you don't want to miss this. You may not be interested in buying a house right now or selling your house or doing anything, but come by and take a look at what they've done inside this house and come by and get your discounts. 200 doors, every other door. I didn't do every door. I did every other door so I could cover more area. Believe me, the people in the middle will find out what's going on. Okay. They will find out. But 200 doors. I didn't do 100. I didn't do 150. I was a machine. 200. I didn't do 201. And I didn't do 199. I did 200 doors. And if they were not there, I had some flyers that I had already made up, and I wrote something on the back and said, hey, listen, I'm sorry I missed you. Hey, come to our open house event and give me a call if you need any more information. So now, one of the things that I have found out about door knocking, and maybe you have also, you got to have some energy. Not being boring. If you are boring, you're not going to get much luck out of a door knocking. Okay. You're not going to get much response out of door knocking. You got to go with some pretty good energy. And if you're not going to go with the energy, find somebody else to go with you that has some energy. Okay. If you're just boring, find somebody else to go with you that has some energy that will be able to be there with you and talk a little bit. Hey, this is my friend so-and-so, man. She's a great real estate. Hey, he's a great real estate agent, that kind of thing. Okay. Now, Pam has her lender to go. Okay. So that might be a good thing if you don't have another agent to go with you or anything. I think having the lender, having somebody going with you, I think is probably the best thing. Most people are going in twos these days just because of the way the world is. But anyway, back to my point. I'm also a believer with open houses about door knocking. That if you want the most effective way of getting more people into your open house by door knocking, go back to the same houses on Saturday one day later. Back to the same houses. Not to other houses, not to the one in between. The exact same 200 homes. Go right back to them. And because, again, it's an amazing thing that, again, even people that come on here, watch this, people are paying to be in this mastermind and they're not here. But sometimes if I don't tell them 100 times to be here, sometimes if I don't tell them right at the last minute to be here, you could see we send out a text, 5 minutes, 10 minutes left, 5 minutes left, come on. And it's an amazing thing that if we do that, some people will get on here by that because they see it enough time. Same thing with door knocking. Same thing with your open houses. You'll increase probably by 30 to 50% your people in your open house from the neighborhood if you go back the second time the day before. I hope that makes sense a little bit. Okay. And again, the whole purpose, don't get me wrong, the whole purpose I had, and this was just my belief, the whole purpose of an open house was not really to sell the house. The statistics show houses don't sell by open houses. And yes, you might find a buyer, but many of them have buyer agency agreements. It was purely to build relationships to people that don't have anything, that were just coming by. And that's what the neighbors were. They were not thinking about buying. They're not thinking about selling. But I just wanted to build that relationship with them for referrals. And if I had a whole lot of them, I can promise you, I went back out and door knocked that neighborhood again. So that's one way of doing this with open houses. Second way, number 2 that I have written down, is take it on a geographic area. Take it on a geographic area. Please, I beg you, don't go get an area with about 25 houses and you call that a geographic area. That's not a geographic. That's a street. Okay. You just take it on a street. I'm talking about taking on 500 houses, because the more you have, the more chance you have of getting referrals and getting business. I think even 50 is really too small. 500, I will say 300 maybe be the minimum, but I took on 1,000 to 1,200, and getting 50% of all the listings that sells out of there, that was pretty good, because I would do probably 20 transactions a year out of there, 25 transactions a year out of that neighborhood. Now, I want to say this to you in door knocking. There's 2 sets of neighborhoods that you got to think about or you can deal with. Number 1, you got to choose, I think. If you're going in to build a lifelong relationship, now hear me out. You don't need to find everybody. When I tell new agents, you need to find yourself a neighborhood and build in the neighborhood. The first thing they want to do is look on the MLS and see what's selling in the neighborhood. You don't ever have to worry about what's selling. In fact, you don't want anybody to move out of that neighborhood. If you are establishing yourself in a neighborhood and building rapport and building relationships, you want all of them to stay there and love on those people and let them give you referrals all day long. You don't want them to leave. If you got somebody in there that's giving you 2 or 3 or 4 referrals in a year, you don't want them to go buy a house anywhere else. You keep them there in that neighborhood. Scott, you had something?
I just wanted to add one thing that I learned. There's a statistic out there that says that 6 out of 10 people bring people to their neighborhood. Whether it be you that brings them into the neighborhood or whatever, they'd rather not sell their house, but help somebody move in next door to them. They want them as a neighbor.
Well, right.
And it's incredible.
Yeah.
I've done it several times and ended up with 5 or 6 different leads that I had no idea, and I sold them a house in that neighborhood.
Yeah.
Because they want to be there.
So if you're looking for a long-term business out of a neighborhood and you just want them to really love you and you love on them, then again, you don't need to go look and see, oh man, is this a high selling neighborhood? No, you're there to build with those people. I built with those people, man. I was Santa Claus. I was the Easter Bunny. I gave away 6 Butterball turkeys. I put flags out. I got speed bumps put into the neighborhood, went down because they were all complaining about how fast people were going. I went down to the city. I got speed bumps. I got a neighborhood watch program going and had the police come out to the little community center. They all got there, but I did all of that for them. They love me for doing that. Therefore, they're going to give me all their business. They're going to give me all the referrals. And I want them to stay there for the rest of their life because I put a lot of effort in building my relationships with them. I don't want them going anywhere. I want them to give me referrals everywhere. That's one way of doing a geographic area. The second way is the other way. Man, I don't give a flying rip about their relationship or my relationship with them. I don't want a relationship with these people. All I want is I want to list house and sell it. List and sell, baby. Come on. And that's many real estate agents. They don't have the patience enough to wait a little time to build the relationships. And that's okay. Hear me out when I say it. It's okay. They're the ones that need to go. And this is what I coach them on. Go find a neighborhood that is just turning over really quick, because here's the deal about those people. They're not going to turn over, but for so long. So go squeeze everything you can out of that neighborhood. Squeeze it like crazy. They're going to list, they're going to sell, they're going to list, they're going to buy, they're going to list, they're going to buy. They're not going to give you any referrals because they're just turning over and turning over. That's okay. I tell new agents, if you need to go get money now, go find a neighborhood that is turning over and door knock the heck out of it. Offer them free market analysis. Offer them something free. Bring something. Remember my quote. You may not remember this. I think I made it up. I've never heard anybody tell me I didn't make it up. So here it goes. Give first, ask second, receive third. For if you ask before you give, you are taking. Give first, ask second, receive third. For if you ask before you give, you are taking. Okay? So that's why I say when you go into a neighborhood to go door knock, bear gifts. Have something for them. It can be as simple as a coupon from the local, like I said, Pizza Hut or sub place or somewhere the neighborhood uses in one of those strip malls around the town. Bear some gifts and give to them first. That's what I did with my neighborhood that I established over about 7 years that I had the neighborhood. I gave and gave and gave and gave, and I almost didn't ever have to ask. They just gave me the referrals. And if they were going to move, 50% of them used me.
A few years ago, Rob, I made a deal with the new pizza joint in town. It was Cottage Inn, and they gave me a bunch of coupons for free pizza. And when I went to door knock, that's what I handed out. And people were like, I get a free pizza? Yeah, absolutely. So they called me the pizza guy for a while.
And that's okay. I knew some people that delivered bagels all the time, and they became the bagel realtor.
Yeah.
Now, whether you like that name or not makes no difference. That's a brand, and they're going to remember you. Okay? They're going to become the donut realtor. I don't care, but become something. And that way you're branding, they're remembering you and those. Now, the other way of door knocking is just randomly, okay, I'm going into a neighborhood and just begin to door knock and see what you can get out of it. But the only thing I say to you on that is if you do it that way, go in with the attitude you're going to find somebody that wants to list their house. Just don't go door knocking for the sake of door knocking. I just think that is crazy. Okay. Now, maybe you do it and I just called you crazy. Okay. So it takes one to know one. Okay. And I am one. I am crazy. Brandy's crazy. But anyway, that's why me and Brandy get along, because Brandy's crazy. Okay. And Pamela's really crazy with her farm. And then she goes and does real estate. And you can look at Scott, man. He is crazy. Okay. We got a bunch of crazies on here. Jackie, if you're crazy, you're welcome to the family. I can give you, some
crazy
fireworks.
like a fox.
Right boom,
right.
Baby, boom. Okay. So anyway, the whole purpose of this, just talking to you about this, what are you going to take with you whenever you do go out? Flyers, those are good. Door hangers, if they're not home or something on that line, those are good. I just believe, I want you to think about this, giving them something like a coupon. And by the way, these restaurants will give you a ton of them. They got them already made up. They'll give you a stack of 1,000 if you want them just to give out. I think going with something like that they can actually go save money, that I think that they would do. And here's the thing, I probably would put on there, right on there, something like this, or tell the owner that they have to mention your name. See, that does a whole lot. If you give them a coupon and say, hey, listen, you'll get 30% off your next pizza if you mention my name. Think about what that does. Number one, the homeowner goes out and mentions your name to one of the waitresses or waiters there or somebody there. The owner there is hearing your name. Everybody is hearing your name, and they've got to do it to be able to get the 30% off. So again, I think that if you go bear gifts, you really will have something to that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to stop talking for a moment. I'm just about done, and I've squeezed everything I can out of you for door knocking. Anybody got anything to say on that? Or have we said it all?
I made a mistake one time. I hired a kid to deliver my flyers, and I got a couple phone calls. Hey, your flyer ended up in my bushes. Be careful of that stuff. Be very wise to it, because it's not good business.
Let me tell you another thing. If you take it, I had my kids and they were small handing out flyers, and I was out in the neighborhood. Next thing I knew, I was going down one street and one of my sons had threw all his flyers because he said he was done down in the drain where the water goes down in there. He'd put every one of those flyers down there. He said, "Hey, I'm done, Dad." Randy, you were going to say something.
Yeah, do you do the same thing after the house is sold? Do you go back into the neighborhood?
Yeah, I did used to do that. Back in the day that I sold real estate, Brandy, we had just listed and just sold cards. I don't know if they still do those that much, but I think you ought to bring it back if they don't. I think you do just sold. And here's what I say to you. If you sold it, for example, if the days on the market were 60 days and all of a sudden you sold a house in 10 days, oh crap. I'd have so many cards and flyers made up and door knock everybody in there and say, hey, here you go. We just sold this property right down here in 10 days. Usually takes 60. We sold it in 10. And I got to tell you something, ladies and gentlemen, before we head out in about 5 minutes or so, I want to switch something. I talked to you guys a little bit about it on last week, but it is going to be a thing. I want you to know that I think we talked about it. The interest rates going up. I believe the interest rates could touch double digits, could, unless something really happens. But right now, you could go door knocking with a flyer and talk about people that's got these 3% interest rates, 2%, 5% or less. And if they're even thinking about selling, they may have an assumable loan. That these people that are at 8%, if it goes to 9% or 10%, they're going to be looking for assumable loans. Nobody's really talking about that right now, okay? But I think it's going to be a thing by the end of the year. So if I was you, I would get out in front of it and probably get some listings like that. Check with your lender. Ask your lender what loans are assumable. Okay, what loans are assumable? Most of the time, VA loans are assumable if you're military at all. And because if a military qualifies, they could assume somebody else's loan. And most of the time, the seller is not liable once they assume it if they qualify. They could go buy another house just fine. Okay. So I think this is going to be a thing. I think you need to get ahead of it. And that might be a good reason to go door knock. At least you might find a whole lot of people that have low interest rates that you can put in the back of your head and say, dang, if I ever get a buyer for this neighborhood, maybe I'll put it out in the neighborhood saying, hey, I've got a buyer that is ready to assume somebody's loan. Because if it gets up, I sold at 12.5% interest rates. That's what I sold at. And there was a lot of assumable loans. Because in the late 80s, I sold in the 90s. In the late 80s, the interest rates were low. And then all of a sudden they shot up to about 12.5% was the highest that I can remember. Now, in the early 80s, it was 17 to 21%, by the way.
So quick question, Rob, is if you're doing an assumable loan, isn't that, how do you get the commission out of that?
The same way, the seller still pays their commission. The seller pays the commission with no problem.
And
they still have to come up
raise
with the money.
Do they raise? They take the equity and
yeah. For example, if a house was $450,000 on the market and they had a $350,000 assumable mortgage, they would assume that $350,000, but they would have to come up with the other $100,000 if it was $450,000. So they would just get a second because it's worth that. You get the appraisal for that. And then the seller would pay from out of that.
And it keeps the buyer at the same interest rate. I
It
got you.
keeps the buyer at that 3%. And I got to tell you, a lot of sellers will even owner finance at something like 5%. If the interest rates were at 10, they might do it at 6%, but it's still a lower interest rate.
And that's a good talking point as well.
Great talking point. So I think you guys need to keep that in mind. Be aware of it, that it's going to become a thing. Now, it may not. All of a sudden, the interest rates may fall, tumble down after the election or whatever there. But I can tell you now, I'm sitting here looking at the stock market and it isn't playing nice. I'm like, oh, crap. And I've sold my house, right? Put it all in the market. And now, man, I'm losing like $100,000 a week. And this is painstaking, man. Oh, please. But it's
You
really
only
cool
lose if
when
you
it
sell.
It's really cool when it turns and all of a sudden in one day, man, you make $35,000. I'm like, yeah, baby. Okay.
Rob,
Anything else?
Rob, I do
Oh,
have
yes,
a
Jen.
question for assumable loans. So does it has to be with the same company that originally financed?
Yes, if it's with that same company, but I got to tell you, Jennifer, 9 times out of 10, they already sold it and it went somewhere else. And that's a great question. That's a great question. I don't think so. Maybe one of y'all know that. They could have their own mortgage company and get it assumed through that mortgage company. They may have to pay some points or something like that to the other mortgage company or some little small fee. I think you're going to have to check with your loan officer on that,
Yes,
Jennifer.
so I was wondering, how do they make the money?
A lot of times, like I said, they've already sold it out. A lot of times they just want to get it out of the bank so they can bring more in. You know, that your money just keeps going around and around and around and around. That's why some people put a mark on a $10 bill to see if they ever get it back again. And there have been people to get it back because the money just goes around and around. You never know where your $10 bill is going to end up. Wouldn't that be cool to get it back 5 years later? You got that same $10 bill and it had your marking on it. That would be just awesome. Yeah, I would check with my lender, but it's going to be a thing. It is going to be a thing. And it may already started. So just watch for it, okay? All right, guys, listen, if there's nothing else, I think that's what I've got for you today. I hope that this has stirred up something inside of you. And then we'll see you next Tuesday, okay? Let me see if I can give you, watch this. Yeah, baby. Yeah.
What about Wednesday? Wednesday at 11:30, right?
Tomorrow
Wednesday?
at 11:30, yes, I'm going to be live on Facebook.
All right.
On
We'll see you then.
Facebook? What time is that?
11:30 Eastern.
11:30 Eastern? I'm on the East.
Okay. See you at 11:30.
Okay.
Guys.
Take care, Rob.
Bye-bye.